Good morning and welcome to your Daily Game Face. I am Dr. Kim Lannon here remote again with Lou in the studio.
You in a rush?
Am I in a rush?
You were in a rush.
Why?
I let the music go like 3 extra bars, and you had your hands up.
Well, I was ready because it's
Yeah.
different when I'm not in studio because I don't have you to cue
Yeah.
me and I'm not watching you across the glass. And when you go into that side, I can't see.
When your mic unmutes, just get ready. That's all.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, oh wise one.
Well,
We've only been doing this for 7 years, but
yeah,
thank you, oh wise one.
I know.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that crazy? I think we're going into our 7th year in
Is it?
February.
Wow, holy
Yeah,
cow!
well, we're 6 years in, but we will be 7. Can you believe that?
I can't. No.
Think about how many shows I've done. That's a lot.
324.
Is that how many I've done?
That's how many you've done. Yeah.
Wow. Is this number 325 or is this
I think this is
324?
I think this is 325.
Holy cock-a-doodle-doo.
Yep. Pretty soon you have.
Congratulations to me,
Yeah, I know, right? Putting up
right?
with me. Yeah.
And I think what have we done? Maybe missed less than 5 or maybe less than 7 in all those years I've missed. And
Definitely less than 7. And
yeah, between the
a
2
couple
of
of
us.
them have been my fault. Yeah. So
Well, at least you take responsibility.
I always take responsibility.
So good morning. I'm remote again, and I'd like to explain, not that I need to, but I'm remote again because I had a veterinary appointment this morning for my lovely little Echo. She had to have her monthly arthritis shot. It's called Silencia, in case anyone wants to know it. It's actually wonderful for animals that have arthritis. It works really, really great. Like, she was a low rider, and by that, I mean the arthritis in her back paws and her haunches were getting so bad a couple of years ago that I thought, oh, she's not gonna be able to walk. And I did some research because that's what I do. I do my research and I found it. And I went to my vet and I said, what do you think? And she said, I think that's a great idea. It's only been really tested on dogs at the time, but let's do it. And I said, okay. And then I balked at it because then I read again about all these side effects and I thought it could kill her, but everything can kill you. So if you Google it long enough. So then I said, well, let's just try. And it has been a miracle of arthritis resolve. So
Nice.
yes. And very cool update on my child is that, and because these are important things in life, right? Talk about rising out of adversity. So in this process, and when you're dealing with whether it's people or animals, right? In the process of when you tell people, I always love this, that someone is X age, oftentimes you get people with very bad bedside manner, which is, oh, they've had a good run. I swear to God, if I hear one more person say, they've had a good run, I'm sorry. When you're 75 and you're going to tell me about that you have an ailment, do you want me to say you've had a good run and we should just put you down? So I've had a few people, but far and few between, but I've had some good, awesome people come into this process with me that are like, hey, she's 22 and she is strong and she is good. And I'm doing a chronicle on TikTok. So if you want to follow me on TikTok, you go over to TikTok and do Ash and Cinder, all one word, ASH and Cinder. Follow there and you can follow, I'm chronicling her journey through the cancer stuff. And it was originally going to be like the treatment. But we opted for treatment in a very different way because the radiation was going to work, but the 90-minute drive, I think I mentioned, to get there 7 times to do the radiation, only to put it at bay for another 6 months was not worth the trauma of the car ride. I'm not sure if it was more going to be me or her. When you do radiation treatment on squamous cell carcinoma, which is very little research in cats and dogs, they are doing it, but it's very little. It's a very aggressive cancer, and it's the most common and aggressive cancer in both animals and horses. And so they don't have a lot other than like radiation, and radiation works great, but it doesn't cure it like other cancers. It just puts it at bay and then it grows again. So instead of doing that, I said, well, I'll do palliative care, which means, Western medicine, like good narcotics, good pain relief, all the things. And then I was like, this is not enough. And I had a very strong grief, anticipatory grief reaction, which is probably an interesting show for some people to have, which is not today. But I had a very strong anticipatory grief reaction over the past like 5-6 weeks since I found out that, well, I figured out when I touched her jaw that I thought it was cancer back on like May 25th.
Yeah.
So here we are, July 22nd. And my anticipatory grief is dampened down because I still obviously know she's terminally ill. So,
Yeah.
but you would never know it. And I went and researched after all my 4th of July weekend was spent doing all the research and I went and researched other things holistically. And lo and behold, I found veterinarians that do holistic practices and do acupuncture. And I was thinking about it because I was so stressed about the stuff going on in life in general, which I won't go into. Besides that, other losses that people are having with their pets and everything. And I was like, there's got to be something else. So I researched and said, I do acupuncture. Why wouldn't I think that would help inflammation? And
So what you're telling me is some people sat there one night on the
yep.
couch and said, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go stick needles in animals for a living.
Well, she does more than that, but
I understand, but that's an interesting way to go out and make a living.
Well, so she does. Well, it's
I'm
so
not knocking it. It's probably very helpful.
So her, I'm going to give her a plug. Actually, her place is called Energy Vet Garden, or Energy Garden Vet. Well, it's one of those things. It's here in Massachusetts. There's multiple people I've vetted, no pun intended, four doctors. She's the one I went with. She's fabulous. Her name is Dr. Carrie Bonacorsi. She's probably going to die when she finds out that I put her on my podcast. But nonetheless, it's in home. Another plus.
Nice.
But when I researched it, I researched first on the efficacy of doing acupuncture and non-traditional treatments on this particular cancer. And it was like, I did not expect all the yeses to come up and all the stuff I found and all the real research and really scientifically, empirically validated research on it. I was so surprised and impressed. And I said, well, who knows? It's a shot in the dark. So this last Saturday, she had her first treatment. And not only in the past 6 weeks has she gained weight, and since the other day, she's gained 7 ounces because her eating has gone up. She has a funky tooth because her jaw is broken. So she has the pirate jaw. We think she's going to lose that tooth. So that will make it easier to not have that tooth growing up there. Yeah. But it's like the cat is amazing. My vet this morning looked at her and said, Kim, I am floored at how good she's doing. And it has not grown huge. It's slowed down.
Okay.
And the swelling is down. I mean, the acupuncture, we could see a difference within an hour. And she spent 2 hours with her, but the treatment was only like 20 minutes. And so quick and easy. I thought this is going to be like horrific to try to pin down a cat, right?
Right.
She was just laying in the sun, and literally Dr. Bonacorsi sat on the floor with her and just kind of pet her and went boop, 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 put them in the spots for like liver, the kidney, the energy. She started with the energy of the head and down the spine. And I mean, I can't say enough. Wow. And the treatment modality, I'm just raving about it because I mean, I love acupuncture. It always makes me feel amazing. It can dysregulate people who have like mast cell stuff or histamine issues, but by and large, it works great. And I was so impressed. And she goes this morning, oh my God, her tumor isn't going away per se, but it's only been a week. But the goal is to get it to shrink because that's what acupuncture can do. And nothing's changed. She eats, she drinks. We went outside on a supervised walk yesterday. She's up and down. I mean, beautiful. Now,
good for her.
I say all that and she could drop dead tomorrow, but
yeah,
I'm just very pleased. And I just am using that as an example of one. Here's taking something really horrific and my anticipatory anxiety and grief and going and trying to sublimate it, which means trying to make something good out of something bad, and have found at least currently, temporarily, something that is, by all outsider accounts, saying to me, wow, this is probably the best thing that could happen. And people are talking about it. 1, she's a Bengal. 2, she's 22. 3, she has this very just insidious mandibular under rostral, all big words that people are probably like, what the hell is she talking about? It's, but she's doing great. And I can't rave enough about this thing. Plus, the doctor, just so you know, because you said acupuncture, we sat around talking about putting them in. So it's not just acupuncture. So she does Chinese medicine and Eastern medicine, and there's special kinds of massages, which I didn't realize I was already doing. And I didn't know. I don't know if you knew I'm a Reiki. I think you knew I'm a Reiki master. I got my Reiki stuff
Yep.
a couple years ago, and I did 1 and 2, and then I went on and did master. And I've been doing Reiki on her since Saturday, and because I wasn't thinking about it because my head was in the she's dying mode. And I think we've done some energy turnaround. So guess what the show is on today?
What energy turnaround?
Well, don't show the excitement with your blasé face. You're like, what energy turnaround? Yes, Eeyore. That's
Didn't feel good about the answer. That's all.
what?
I didn't feel good. I didn't feel strong confidence in the answer.
Okay. Well, okay. So it is about energy, but it's about taking we're rising still, right? So, but it's about, I was thinking, okay, how do I reflect on a thought for people to apply this to life for themselves in life for human beings, right? And so I thought about it this way, is that your energy isn't necessarily what you feel. It's what you consistently create through choices, thoughts, and actions. And every small little decision that you make becomes part of the future that you're building. So, although I have a cat that I'm talking about, I'm doing those energy choices for her. But if we talk about people and human beings listening to this for themselves to rise, I thought, wow, we could talk about your energy is really about isn't just about what you feel. That's so important. It's really about consistency in creating thorough thoughts, choices, and actions, because each small little stackable win becomes part of the future that you're building. And so using that, that whole thought is like, okay, how would I break this down? Because people like it when I break it down into little compartments, right? So I thought, okay, what would be a meaningful discussion to raise your energy? And I call it vibration, like your vibration in the world. How you manifest. You talk about like The Secret. I talk about manifesting, bringing your energy level up and vibrating so that you can get like good things coming to you and bring in the good mojo or the good whatever, the yummies to you emotionally. And also being able to stay grounded in practical action motions to have successes. So that's what we're talking about today, Lou.
Nice. I
You
just
like
want
that?
Yeah, I want to derail you for a little bit, semi-derail you for a little bit, because I think the biggest problem here is less about producing positive energy as it is avoiding negative energy. And you talked about anticipatory grief, and
Yeah.
that's a big thing on everybody every day. I mean, we experience it with our pets, of course, because
Mm-hmm.
because we know we're going to lose our pets eventually. That's the way it is. But on some scale, we're doing that every day on everything, whether it be anticipatory grief about a meeting coming up or about someone you're meeting with on the day.
This
Well,
this is clearly on your mind for you.
no, you brought it up and it seemed like a
I know,
fascinating
but I know
topic.
that you tend to have anticipatory
Oh god, yeah.
anxieties around that. Yes. But
Yeah,
yes.
that's a fight for me every day, and anticipatory anxiety or anticipatory grief. I just looking at threat generating all day. I think a lot of people struggle with that.
And that's what I mean. So yes, in essence, that's why I was thinking about framing it this way,
Right.
is taking your anticipatory, whether it's anxiety or grief, right? The anticipatory grief, by the way, just as a caveat, is when you're sort of like I'm watching someone die eventually here, but I'm watching the process.
Yeah.
I'm anticipating it. So I'm in grief all the time because it's in me, because it's on my head, it's on my mind, it's on my heart. And it's not like we're going along in life and then all of a sudden it happens. It's like we're going along in life and knowing it's coming. But we already know it's coming, but it's different because it's like we're watching it.
Yeah, it's a little bit more substantial.
It has
For a lot of
it's
people
deeper
face that.
space.
I look at my dog. I can look at my dog two different ways. I can look at my dog that love my dog. He's beautifully brings a lot to my life. Or I can look at it. He's 9 years old. I'm going to lose him in a few years. That type of
Right.
thing. And a
Right.
lot of people, that's just the mindset. That's all.
Right. So that's to my first point. So we're gonna
Yeah.
I'm gonna address those points. So
Yep.
right there, number one, with your own life, your attention What you give attention to
Right.
shapes your whole experience, to your point. So there's my number one. So
Thoughts
where
become
you can,
things.
you what?
Thoughts become things.
Right. So where you consistently place your attention will influence your emotions, your habits, and your decisions. So, number one, think my attention shapes my experience. Where I'm putting my attention, like you just gave two different sides to where you put your attention,
Right.
that will shape the whole experience for you. And so, you could ask yourself something like, what am I feeling with my thoughts today? Right? What am I feeling with my thoughts today? You could ask then, when you figure out what am I feeling, because my thoughts are creating something, right? What am I feeding my thoughts today? Right. So
Yeah.
if you're talking about feeling and feeding, like what is it that you're shaping your whole experience of the day with? So for like, and I'm going to use this as the example because I think it's a good example for life, is that for me with Echo, I was having a really hard time, as you know, not feeding my
Yeah.
anticipation of death. I mean, it was just overwhelming grief. It was shocking. I knew it when I felt it. And then I had one vet tell me it wasn't, and I knew that she was wrong.
Hmm.
So it heightened that. But my thoughts were toggling with cognitive conflict back and forth because I was feeding off of the fear
Right.
of losing her faster than I expected, not, all the things that come with, oh my God, it's not like it tragically just occurs like 6 weeks ago when Mia died, it tragically occurred, right? And then that's on top of it. So it's like, where is my attention being put to shape my experience? So what did I do? I lost without any hesitation. I lost my whole weekend of I was gonna say New Year's. I always want to say New Year's for 4th of July. For 4th of July, because I spent it being productive, attention shaping my experience by looking for productive solutions. Where did I consistently place my attention over like 2.5 weeks to figure out how I would influence my emotions, influence something that was in my decision making, and influence my outcomes? Even though I didn't have control over the final outcome, I had control in the moment.
Hmm.
And that shift, although it was really anxiety provoking, and it did require me to have a lot of stamina, like when I did the race, because it was in my head so much that weekend of
Yeah.
the race that I ended up having to stop and throw up 4 times because I was so anxious, which never happens. And I have no problem telling you that, because that's what happens when you start not being in shaping your own experience in a productive way.
Right.
And we're all human, and I practice what I preach. And I had to flip, which I said last week, don't flip it, but I literally had to flip it 180 degrees and be like, okay, I had to say, what am I feeding my thoughts? I'm feeding my thoughts catastrophizing, future forecasting, negativity, toxic stuff. It's, death, doom, gloom, blah, 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 right?
Yep.
Um, Now I'm sort of in more of like, and this would be Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, who talks about death and dying, talks about how to understand things like that, but to raise up your energy, to raise up your vibration, your energy in your spirit, your soul, your core, your body, your mind, all those things. So then I started thinking, number two, I'm adding number two in, even though it sounds cliche and a little Pollyanna, and I know people kind of roll their eyes, but it's, what am I grateful for today?
Yep.
No, I mean, serious stuff. I know that people used to talk about, Oprah Winfrey would have her gratitude list and all that stuff. And I often tell people to make a list at the end of the day in my own practice of like 3 things that you liked. I don't say grateful, but I say liked about the day, felt good about the day. And then when you wake up in the morning, what is one thing you have intentional to live for today? So my intention for today and other days is that I'm going to practice a daily gratitude that she's good today. Things are good. It doesn't change, gratitude or being happy about something that's going great, like this morning, like she's gained weight. We're looking good. Furs never look better. The tooth is probably going to fall out. Nothing is being fast growing. It's sort of steady. We're not in pain. All the people that are out there on my TikTok saying, oh my God, you should just put her down. She looks so tired. She's laying in the sun when I'm videoing. And of course she looks
Yeah.
tired. She's sleeping in the sun.
He's a cat.
Right? And people are like, oh, poor baby, you're being abusive. And then I'm like, so I had to do a full, by the way, I had to do a full video for them to show, like, for all the naysayers, which there aren't tons, but there are a few, just to be like, hey, and I tag those people in it. You know how you can go up and split the screen. I'm like, um, the person cat that you think is dying, like like yesterday, and that I'm being horrible for taking her on in life. Here she is walking up and downstairs, and here she is jumping up on the counter to eat a full chicken that she tears apart with her own mouth. And like,
Yeah.
as if I don't know how to take care of the cat. But anyway, so I'm very grateful for that. And so as a daily practice, and I don't, and not just with her, I do it with other things, you know, because gratitude doesn't magically change something, but it can shift your perspective. It
Yep.
reduces your stress. It helps you notice opportunities. And that's what opened the door for me to find the acupuncture, is because I started being grateful for the fact that I have time. And how often do we get to say, oh my God, we have time?
Yep.
We don't have enough time. Time flies, right? My cousin sent me a whole list of pictures yesterday of things that happened 6 years ago from a timeline of memories. And it was like, oh my God, time flies. It's just so fast, right? But it's so important, I think, about like when you overlook things because you think you don't have time. But when you really sit down and go, I'm really grateful that I have time to be productive, to figure something out here, because I'm a person that will exhaust all possibilities. I'm not that person who's in the linear vacuum of going like, well, that's it. Throw in the towel. It's over. It's like, no, you really have to attention shape your experience, be intentionally grateful, and then seek out the opportunity to help you shift your perspective so that you can reduce your stress. And I feel like this huge weight has risen from me. There's other things
Mhm.
going on too that I've done that I'm not going to share online, but to help this. And it's like amazing when you actually do this. And you know, I'm a big fan of practice what I preach. So I'm like, I've got to do this because this is going to be part of my book, because I think rising and raising your energy and your vibration up to this level is so important. Okay, I'm moving on to the number 3 thing before, but if you have something to say, please do.
Nope. Same set of circumstances, different mindset makes all the difference.
Exactly.
Yep.
So that comes to the energy of your environment. We
Yep.
always, you always go to social media on this, but I always think of it as multitudes of, or
Yeah.
multifaceted things. The energy of your environment is super important. The people, the music, social media, spaces, colors, uh, all the things that are around you affect mood, affect motivation, affect all kinds of intentionality that you could be having. Because if you don't have the things around you that you love, I was with a friend of mine last week, and she and I had a long conversation last Wednesday night, in depth about how important your spaces and places around you when you're trying to have a rise manifestation mentality to grow and evolve, how important your spaces in your home are
Mhm.
sanctuary. Your sanctuary should be like not just one room. She and I were talking about how every room in your home really should be a place where you walk in and go, this room feels good. This room brings me your kitchen, your bathroom, your living room, all the bedrooms, not just your own, like, to really give that, your office, your car. You know, when I see sometimes people live with, they live with their cars in chaos because they
Yeah.
just toss stuff in the back. I won't out my niece, Abby. Oops. She's probably working today, so she's not listening. But I saw the back of her car the other day and I was like, Abigail.
Yeah.
She's like, I know, I'm gonna clean it. And I'm like, you were almost 22 years old, girl. You're almost as old as my cat, and your car looks like a dumpster fire.
I know, just more chaos adding to your
And
mindset.
and and that's the thing, is when the energy in your environment is chaotic, and I tell this to people with trauma and anxiety all the time, when you have a chaotic environment, cluttered environment, too much going on in the actual environment, we know scientifically through empirical validated research, but also I can tell you anecdotally for 30 something years of doing my job and then just living life for all of the life I've lived, the more chaos that's around your environment, the worse you perform, think, organize and be able to actually manifest energy that's actually going to be able to raise your vibration up to be able to be successful.
Because it's all taxes on your productivity. It's just
Mm-hmm.
draining your mental energy.
Exactly. So it's super important that the energy in your environment is being considered to intentionally create space to support your goals. And that sounds foreign and odd to people, I think, that you have to think about that. Like my office that I have, not this one, this is my space, but my office that I create for people to come see me in, I everything's placed for a reason. Everything's purposeful for a
Yeah.
reason. The environment supports the goal of relaxation, openness, and growth on purpose. Because I want people to be able to feel like that's the place where you come and be like, and I get that a lot. People come in and like, oh, I love
Yeah.
this office. And I'm not saying that to be like, it's because I did it with intention to make sure that I created an environment where the energy could really be present so that it creates the opportunity for gratitude in one's own self. And then the attention of the experience can be created. It's so important. They all stack up and down together, how important that is.
So that was one of my favorite parts about therapy, coming into the office. And oftentimes, the half an hour waiting was just as good as the actual. And I would come in early and just sit, because you can just put everything down, just take all that chaos out of your mind and just put it down for a little while.
Right. Right. And the environment, I wouldn't say that my office waiting room is the best because it's a main hallway for a lot of offices, but
That's
people hate my bench, but it's not my bench, so I can't do anything about it.
well,
I've
that's why I
just
keep
asked for some
saying.
pillows on it, but yes, I have had people tell me that just coming and just being near the office is like, nice
Yeah,
and
well, that's why
calming.
I keep talking about the NFL being therapy, because for 3
Mhm.
hours, you set everything down.
Right,
You're not
exactly,
thinking about anything else for 3 hours except that football game.
exactly. I
Mm.
love that. And
Yeah,
everybody has to find their environment where they find that peace, right?
yeah,
Um,
and the cars, for me, driving in the car with the music going, my selected
yep.
music, and it's just like, that's
You
peace.
know, the energy of the environment of the car, the energy of the environment of taking a hike in nature, the energy of going to the gym, right? The energy of making sure you feel good about the places you're in. Like you get a feeling, most people do, like, and you get an intuitive gut feeling about an energy of a place. And that's important to listen to wherever that is in your body, because it's telling you something good, bad, or indifferent, but you have to listen to it and don't ignore it.
Yep.
Find it in your body so that you know, like, oh, this feels good or this does not feel good, and not return to it, you know? Um, okay, moving to the next section. Living in alignment. Now, in the past few shows, I've talked about being aligned with yourself, right? Alignment. So, what does that mean? That means aligning kind of your intentions, not kind of, it is lining your intentions with your gratitude, with your choices, with your want for the next thing, and to live the day in the best day possible. So, living in the alignment is, we want to be in a high vibration. We want a high energy. That does not mean we want to be manic. We just want to have enough feel good energy that can be understood as acting in ways that align with our values and what we're trying to be authentically and who we're trying to become. Now that's kind of a combination of a few shows I've done, right? So I always tell my class, being honest, kind, compassionate, and disciplined. If we are honest, kind, compassionate and disciplined, we will raise our vibration up to be good helpers, because I teach people how to become counselors in drug addiction, right?
Yep.
So if you are living in alignment, you are continually lifting yourself up to fill your surplus up, like I talked about last week, to act in ways that are aligned with how you want to be seen in the world and what you keep aiming for to be the best possible you of your day. Now, tomorrow you might change your alignment a little bit, but it's still in the same venue of raising up that vibrational energy into your choices, intentionality, gratitude, feeling like I have productivity, instead of feeling like, for the example of Echo, I could have easily folded in and been like a lot of people, where she's like, well, she's 22, why bother? That's not what you do
Yeah.
unless you're that person.
Yeah.
which apparently there's a lot of those people out there, which
Other people.
they're
Yeah.
not. But then you know who they are? They're not my people. And
Mm,
that's the thing. And that's okay. They're not my tribe. And that's fine.
I
You're
got you.
my tribe, Lou.
I'm your tribe.
Yeah. You're so
I
quiet
don't know if I
today.
fit.
People are going to be like, you don't think you're my tribe? Thank you.
No, no, I'm listening. I don't know if I fit. No,
You
I'm
don't,
listening. It's
don't
good
think I
information
fit? That's weird.
in your
Okay.
tribe.
What does that mean? You don't feel like you fit in my tribe? Fine. You're excommunicated. You're out. You're
No,
fired. You're out.
no, this is a,
We're
what we're
having an
talking about
off-air
today.
conversation about this one. Now I invite
No,
you
no.
into my inner circle, like Greg Fokker, and you're out. You're
No,
fired. You're out.
this is a perfect example because the subject that we're doing today is a battle I fight on a daily basis, but I'm doing it with awareness, and I'm doing it with having done a lot of this work and found a lot of techniques to do it. But this is a battle I wage every day,
I just
from
realized
minute
it.
to minute. You know,
Well, but I think that like most people, and I like what you just said, even though it sounds sort of painful, I think a lot of people feel that way. And it's a battle you wage with yourself every day. I think with the tools, if you use the tools that I'm giving and you use these tools, even particularly today that I'm going through for you, I think that that will help you not feel like you have to battle because that's like how I felt before I felt like I could take control of my experience
yeah,
versus my experiencing happening to me. The anxiety and the anticipation grief is still underlying there. But because I took my father always used to say, don't let the beam own you, the balance beam.
okay,
Own the balance beam. And because the balance beam scared me because I broke my arm on it, right? And it kind of has a flashback to that kind of day of him always saying that of don't let it own you, own it. And I think that's a lot of this rising your vibration up to I'm not going to allow something to own my choices, my feelings, my emotions, because I feel like I don't have something I can do. I may not be able to fix something, which is where I was really stuck, right? When I felt like, oh, I can't cure it, I can't fix it. And that's where people go throw in the towel. I was like, no, no, I'm going to own this somehow. I'm going to do something. And I think that for you, because you used your example, I think for you being able to really do wherever you can put motion in is important.
yeah. Yeah, well, again, it's about all the points that you've made here, and for me, a lot of it was just stopping what I was producing myself. The negative part of it was how I was draining myself this way, and I'm good at that. But there's still a lot of external stuff that you just have to fend off on a day to day basis.
Well, and you have to, I call it compartmentalizing. There's certain things that you just have to kind of like put in a compartment off the side, not avoid them, but know that they're there. But when they can't be directly addressed in the moment,
Yep.
you have to be able to have the acceptance of, okay, let go for now.
Yeah, and I'm good at that. But as we've discussed over and over again, it's not linear. There are days where you're good at it, and there are days when you're not. You're less good at it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I think if you keep the mindset in this particular type of even if you have to say raise your vibration, raise your vibration, raise your vibration, I think that makes you just come back into where do I have control over something. So to the point of what you're saying, like would be my next point is visualizing. If you're visual, which hopefully you are, and then other people visualizing and taking action are important. When you visualize success, when you visualize something good, success doesn't mean outcome goal. Very important. Journey is success. The journey steps are your success. And people are like, I have so many people in the past couple weeks being like, yeah, but I want the big thing at the end. I'm like, yeah, but you're not acknowledging all the little things. And that's not cliche. It's what you have to do. Good
Right.
things come with good things, right? So visualizing each moment as success, not the outcome goal. And when you can visualize each success, like you cleaned a little spot that was really cluttered, or you ate better today than you did yesterday, or you were able to pay off a bill that you had been trying to pay off for a year and finally you got it done, right? When you visualize the success on a daily basis, it will increase your motivation and your confidence that things are good, better, can get better. It shows you, proves to you that things are on a upward trajectory. And it works best when it's paired with consistent action. So when you visualize your success and you pair it with consistent actions that are productive, you're going to have a helpful mindset that is like, imagine the future that you want. Imagine that you take one step forward today, not what you're doing next week, but
Right.
what are you doing today to be in the future you want? Because if you want something a year from now and you don't mind to the daily things that you're doing, a year from now, I tell this to clients all the time, a year from now, we're going to have the same conversation that we're not any further along because you're too busy thinking about the outcome a year from now, which is why I say I hate that question in interviews of where do you see yourself in 5 years? My answer is always, I don't know because life changes on a daily. And
Yep.
people always look at me like,
I know.
because it's a true answer. Because I don't know. Where do I want to be? I could answer that. That doesn't mean that's going to happen.
Right.
And along the way, you pivot. Your whole life can pivot because you might end up at the same spot you wanted to be, but in the
The
traversing,
path is going to be completely different.
it's what?
The path is going to be completely different than you anticipate.
Exactly. And if you get stuck in the perfectionism that the path has to be a very specific linear path, you will not be able to raise your vibration up because you'll be drained. Your vibration is like your cup, filling up your cup, right? With energy. If you are depleted, your vibration will not meet the needs to be able to rise.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I'm,
Just stacking wins, the power of accumulation. And once you
yes,
start to understand the power of accumulation, it becomes very forceful in your life.
exactly.
Yeah.
So in that vein, the next thing I would say is letting go. This is so hard for people. Let go of what drains you.
Hmm.
There's same friend I was talking to the other day about vibrations and things. She and I we were texting back and forth, I think yesterday, and we were talking about um, letting go being really more of a form of acceptance of things being able to be different and things being able to not be the way you think they're supposed to be,
Yeah.
and letting go of things that drain you um, is so important. And I see this in the addiction work that I do. People who suffer with addiction and the affliction of addiction often sit in resentment and shame. And getting I don't tell anyone to let go of something, and I also tell people they don't have to forgive, even though that's part of AA,
Yeah.
because forgiveness is not necessarily necessary for recovery. It's about being able to move through things that have been very disturbing to your vibration, your energy, and the way you live life. So resentments get in the way, constant comparisons socially or to a family member. Unhealthy habits are
Mhm.
draining. Relationships that consistently leave you depleted and drain you. So if you live with gaslighters, narcissists, people who are dismissive avoidance or feel fearful avoidant in their attachment styles, which I should do a whole show on those too. Those are draining. And when we release ourselves from those, that doesn't mean you might not be able to get rid of someone out of your home or out of your office or whatever, but you certainly can release yourself from the mental and emotional drain that they're putting on you
Yep.
by just going forward and moving forward and doing you, like making sure you're taking care of you. Probably 2 years ago, and sometime in August, I believe I did a show that I did the 4 S's. I talked about how people often become adults that were depleted in childhood from being safe emotionally, soothed, not sued, but soothed, which means validated, and safe and secure. So those 4 S's that they didn't have them, and then they get to adulthood, they still don't have them, and they look for that in other people to give that to them instead of going inward and parenting your own self into filling up your own cup. And I said this last week, being able to surplus yourself so that you don't have to let go of this big thing. It's more about really just surplusing you. You got to take care of you first, and yeah, be selfish about it. And selfish not in a negative terminology way, being selfish by saying I have to put my mask on when it drops in the airplane first before I can help you. If I don't, I die and I can't help you. Right? It's a little extreme, but it's really the same good metaphor, is that, letting go or moving through resentments, jealousies, envies, those constant comparisons, the relationships that leave you depleted, is very helpful in releasing you from the bonds that bind you to trauma, to anxiety, and keep you moving forward. Because when you release that, you have a weight released. And you can feel it in your body. Most people walk around very unaware of how their body's impacted, like their jaw, their shoulders, their knots in their back or whatever. And when the whole thing came up with Mia passed away, and then Echo's death, and then my cousin's dog passed away last week, and that, like, there's been a lot. If I didn't have this quick switch that I finally got after a few weeks, switch over to say, oh my gosh, you really have to stop letting these things drain you and find a way to be productive, so that you feel like you have more of a sense of growth and mental space for emotional growth. You're going to be throwing up every day, and you're going to be waking up anxious and, tearful or whatever. Right. So that's important.
My dog is an Aussie, and he's got a lot of fur, and he goes outside and he rolls around, then he comes back in and he just does this big shake, just shakes everything off. And that's a metaphor I use a lot for things like when you have relationships that aren't necessarily positive for you, but you can't get away from them. They're just part of your day.
Exactly. I think that's such a good metaphor. Is like, it's perfect. It's like, when you said it, I thought of like the dogs that are up on the mountain. They go running through the stream, and then they come out, and then they shake all over you. It's like, oh, now they're all good, and then they keep running. It's like, yes, because they've raised their vibration. They got a verve for life in that moment, and then they shook it off, and then they went. And that's what a great metaphor.
Sometimes you just got to shake things off.
Right.
It's okay.
Right. Or you go and put on Taylor Swift if you like her, and listen to her song.
I can shake that off too, but
I know. I knew that was coming. I
actually like that song, but
listen, you said it and the words came, and then all of a sudden the song started playing in my head. I couldn't help it. Just happens. So then, and that's where we come into, a little bit of what we talked about last week. And I said, about helping, how do you help others? I think that was last week's show. But how to have a positive impact and service and positive impact of yourself. It's like helping others creates a sense of purpose and connection that alleviates your stress, but also can elevate your own well-being, but benefiting someone else around you. I just had my whole class have like a 30-minute discussion the other day about, is there truly pure altruism? Which means, can you do something for someone else without the expectation that something will come in return and that you'll feel good? And what a great philosophical discussion that becomes. I teach it every year, and I teach it in context of group and family work, and altruism, being truly altruistic. Can you be that way? And the debate is wild, because I think there are moments where you can be, but by and large, no one can fully be 100% of the time altruistic, because me being a helper by nature gives me good feelings. Do I go in with that intention? No. Or do I go in with that expectation? No, but I still get those good feelings, not all the time. But when I have successes, or I have clients or students or people come back in my life and say, oh my gosh, that made a difference. I went back to school. I had a career change or whatever. That service to self, to evolve your energy up into a vibrational mode of being like healthy yourself, will help others, because it helps them see that your purpose and connection to the world and the world around you will elevate you. Then that means it can elevate them, because they can do the thing.
Correct me if you think I'm wrong. I think the problem with that discussion, that philosophical discussion, is most people see the opposite of altruism as selfishness.
Yes.
And it's not. You can be beneficial to people and get something out of it yourself, and that does not make you a bad person. It doesn't make you selfish.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. And people get
reframe the question.
People get socially constructed into believing very early on in life that doing things for self, we certainly grew up this way, and I see it still, maybe not quite in the same exact density of it, but I certainly still see it, especially in women, that doing things for self is a bad thing. because then you're considered, you're not being
Right.
a good person. You're not being in service of others. And therefore, if you're taking care of yourself, how rude of you, how dare you take the day for yourself? Like, or
You do
say
both.
no, right? The no is the full, how dare you say no?
Yeah.
And especially women. And unfortunately, that's a big thing. Doesn't mean that I'm ruling out the male thing there, but it's particularly socially constructed for women to feel like if they don't do all the things, go to work, make sure they take care of the kids, make sure they have dinner, make sure that they get them to soccer, make sure they get them bathed, make sure they get them to bed. The pressure socially on that particular framework is epically still impacting people.
Yep. But you can
So
do both.
yes, and so
And
you
let's look
have
at it
to
from a financial standpoint. If you're gonna be philanthropic, if you're gonna be altruistic, so to quote unquote altruistic and donate to charities or whatever you're gonna do you do it with money so you don't feed your kids or don't feed yourself? No. You create a life that has surplus enough for you to help out other people.
correct.
Yeah.
Right. I think another great way of looking at it, right, is being able to do that and do it that way, right? Because you wouldn't. Well, some people do, but that's a choice that gets them in trouble, right? Talk about choices that lower your vibrational stuff, and also important thing. I keep talking about raising your vibration, your energy, your mind body experience. When you have low vibration is when you get ill. That's when
Yep.
people put on weight. That's when people get depressed. That's when people get anxious because they're not filling up their cup, and they're usually externalizing, waiting for something to happen to them and for them to make themselves feel good.
Yep.
So that would bring me to my big finale last point, which would be that when we do this raising of our vibration up, we manifest through intention and consistency. So that's like my takeaway. If you can't remember all the other things or you haven't written them down, think manifest your high vibrational energy through working with intention and consistency. So a grounded way to think about that is set a clear intention for yourself, right? Today, my day is I'm going to be positive that I'm having a good day with Echo and not worry about end of life because we're having a good day. That's a clear intention. I also have I have one other clear intention, not to share here, but I have another clear intention, right? Well, I can sort of say that it's about holding boundaries, right? With certain people, holding good boundaries and being able to hold that and feel good about that. Clear intention, right? Having positive expectations about my clear intentions. That doesn't mean that I'm going to have a miraculous something. Be really realistic. 3 R's: realistic, rational, reasonable. Positive expectation about what my intentions are. Creating a daily habit to make sure that I stay consistent with that, to manifest that vibration. Stay persistent. Don't get discouraged. Even if it starts to drop, remember that I have a clear intention for the day, and it might not be perfect, but find where it is good. And then be open to an opportunity or opportunities for whatever comes from those things, and also open to the opportunity to pivot.
Yep.
The pivotal moment, and that's why I did use, and probably people are like, we're sick of hearing about your cat, but I don't care, is that I had a pivotal moment. So replace it with a person if you're more inclined to talk about a person in your life, right? If you are having something go on that's adverse in your life, you got to find your pivotal moment so that you can manifest with intention and consistency how to maintain your surplus to be able to keep at your elevated high vibration so you feel good and you keep moving forward.
Mhm.
Same as the marathon. I'm on that marathon route every year in Boston, and I can't tell you how many times I hear and I say to people, just keep moving forward. Just keep moving forward. The finish line will come. Just keep moving forward.
Yep.
And that's such an important lesson for people in life, that you have control to do these things. So it comes full circle back to what I said at the very top of the show, which is your energy isn't just what you feel. It's what you consistently, this is like super important. It's what you You consistently have to create through your own thoughts, your own choices, your own decisions and actions. And every small decision becomes part of the building block to the next thing. Stackable wins.
Yep. It's about control again, keeping your hand on the wheel. What you feel is,
Yes.
most people think that's out of their control, and it's largely in their control.
Right. Exactly.
That's what you have to
And
realize.
and and as hard as it is to start the process, this approach will um, help you raise your vibration while recognizing that lasting change over time comes from this combination of mindset, behavior, and opportunities you pursue, combining them all together and doing that and not having that externalization and not taking your hands off the wheel. Really being able to say, I have somewhere in, I might not be able to fix something perfectly, but I can make a difference for me.
Yep.
I can't change you. I can't change
Right.
them. I can't change cancer, but I sure as heck can do something to make sure it's manageable so it doesn't overtake my life in a negative, unhealthy way.
Understand your part, understand the level of control you have, and exert it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, yes.
Because too many people feel they have no control whatsoever, and it's just not
Well,
true.
they feel they have no control, but they also think that because this is very common, and I see this in my addiction work more of the time than in other populations that I serve. But is that it's not that there's not other things that can be done, is that people get stuck in their head that there's only one way, and if it's not that way, then it's a problem. I call it when people get, I'm going to say it, they get the fuck it. And they go, I don't know anything different. So fuck it. I'll just keep doing what I know.
Yep.
So it's my class always laughs because I'm always like, you get the fuck it's, and then you're in trouble, because once that happens, you can spiral really badly.
Yeah. Again,
That's where people relapse: eating, drinking, shopping, exercising. Like, it goes to the extreme when you get the fuck it's.
you've been focusing on people exerting control over their outcomes, and I think people need to understand how much control they have over their outcomes now, and it's all negative, but they don't
Right.
see the negative control that they have. They think it's all external.
Right.
Well, you have a part in it, and you have to identify your part, and you have to try to eliminate those parts. Help
Right.
yourself out by not contributing to the negative parts of your outcomes.
Right. And if your expectation is that it's going to happen to you, you got to get that out of your head,
Yep.
because that's what people wait for. They wait for someone else to do it for them or give them the answer. And even in lieu of getting an answer, I still have clients that in psychology, we call it help rejecting complainers. Not to be negative. It's just that people will come, they'll ask for help, you'll give them what they need. They won't go do it. Then they'll come back, complain about the help that they got, that it didn't work because they didn't do it,
Right.
because they didn't like that it took work. Usually that's what it is. And so then they come back and complain about how they still don't feel good.
They just
But
continue.
they want more techniques. And I always say, I'm not giving any more techniques till you actually do these.
Because what they don't understand is the technique is internal. They
Right.
think it's external. They just get handed. They're supposed to be handed this technique, and it's supposed to work. That's not the way it works.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. I had a client yesterday tell me about the fact that she went to her primary care and she's been doing things holistically. So she has anxiety and she's been doing holistically. And one of the things she's been doing holistically, which happens in rare cases, that she takes a specific herb that we had discussed in naturopathy, and it elevated her liver enzymes. It does that. So what do? We discontinue it. It's not damaging her liver, it just raised them up, and so it will go back. But the doctor, instead of saying, like, let's manifest in a different way of like how to manage this, immediately was like, let's do a benzo. I'll just prescribe you a benzo. So the liver enzyme issue was a concern for the doctor because of the natural product she was using, but she would rather put in a benzo that would inevitably be addictive. And this person has addiction in her family. And that would then lead to also the fact that we know that benzos over long-term use are now linked to Alzheimer's. But we were worried about the liver enzyme that we could immediately stop and just change the herb.
My question would be, did the doctor know there were addiction issues?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah,
Yes. But that's to my point,
yeah.
is that it's like,
Well, our mutual friend Jeff, that's if all you have is a hammer, all you see is nails.
Right.
That was a situation there where the doctor only had pharmaceuticals and
Well,
decided,
and that's the problem, unfortunately, not knocking Western medicine because
yeah,
I was trained in Western medicine initially, but that's the problem is it's too quick fix oriented and too symptom by symptom instead of whole,
yeah,
like holistically treating the whole person and not just giving a medication for every single symptom that then you have to take another medication for. It's less is more, not more is more.
yeah,
So that's another way about manifesting your own destiny on this is being able to raise your vibration by educating yourself and knowing, like, think logically. When she told me that yesterday, I sort of giggled out loud, and she did too, because she knew we've known each other a long time. She goes, I knew you were going to laugh, because
yeah,
she goes, I heard you in my head going, oh, quick fix, quick fix. And
yeah,
then I psychoeducated her on that further, just to say, because she didn't take the prescription. She just laughed and declined and said, no, I think I'll just stop the other thing and I'll go back to Dr. Lannon and we'll go back through it. But the doctor was all about, like, oh, holistic treatment, naturopathy, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, well, the body keeps the score. Book, very good book, by the way. Body
yeah,
keeps the score, and also the body knows how to heal itself.
yeah.
And things in nature are here for a reason to be used, not manufactured things. You
Yeah,
know,
just stop fighting it.
right.
Try to
I
help it
mean, we
out a
don't
little
all
bit.
have to be on a pill to pop, and there's nothing wrong with medication,
Right.
but there is something wrong with a medication for every symptom and as a quick fix, because then people don't do the work.
Again, work is
Just saying.
responsibility, and responsibility is people don't want to take on responsibility.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly that. So, anyway, on that note, I bid all of you a wonderful week of raising your vibration, rising your energy through intention, clarity, and setting forth your day with that goal in mind of just having your day raise my vibration, my energy level, not my energy level like running, but raise my actual emotional, spiritual, whatever you want to call it, your mind body connection. Raise that up so that you are fully on fire for yourself to do good things for yourself.
You
So
done?
I'm done.
That's
Have a great week, everybody. Have a
See you
nice
next
weekend.
week.